a cold wind was blowing, and it was blowing above all on university campuses. This was not a wind from above. It was not the state that mandated political correctness in classrooms and on campuses. On the contrary, this movement emanated from faculty and was supported by at least some students. Even as we have fantasized about an age of free speech online, in reality, in many universities in the Western world, free speech has been in retreat since the 1980s. And the most recent developments that I behold on university campuses give me real and grave concern. Hate speech. Hate speech is the 21st century term for heresy. And if you are accused of hate speech as a professor on most American campuses today, you'd better look out. Because the process of no platforming, of online harassment, will begin the minute they suspect you of being a political heretic. It is a strange combination of the Puritanism of early 17th century New England and the excesses of the Cultural Revolution in Mao's China. It's also, for some, a kind of career. Witchfinder was a kind of career in many parts of Europe and even Massachusetts in the 17th century. The witchfinders of our time seek political witches, heretics, online, and the trials occur on Twitter and Facebook. This is a deeply disturbing trend, and what's most disturbing about it is that it seems to spread outwards from the United States to British universities, to European universities, and who knows, perhaps also to South American universities. Beware. Beware the witchfinders. Beware the new denouncers of heresy. They pose a profound threat, not just to free speech, but to free thought. I don't know if you've ever tried thinking without speaking. It's a lot less satisfying, and it really limits your impact on other people. I find myself thinking more and speaking less. It has a chilling kind of effect to be accused of racism or homophobia, to have yourself called a white supremacist in the London Review of Books. It makes you a little uneasy when such accusations get repeated and repeated, when they make an annual appearance every time your enemies amongst the witchfinders decide to have a go at you. No, I'm not going to stop saying the things that I have said that are politically incorrect. I still believe that on balance, the benefits of the British Empire exceeded the costs. That is hate speech in the eyes of a generation of post-colonial scholars, but it seems to me to be empirically verifiable economic history. Yes, there are things that John Maynard Keynes said that were wrong. Yes, there were things that President Barack Obama did that were wrong. And even worse, yes, there are some things that President Donald Trump has done that are right. I continue to publish such heretical views, but I do it each week with a heavier heart, with a feeling of dread, wondering, will the witchfinders come after me this week? Will I have to increase the security budget for me and my family this month? When the atmosphere becomes as toxic as it has become in some parts of this country, of the United States, I should say, when scholars like Charles Murray face physical assault when they give speeches as invited guests at, for example, Middlebury College, something very unpleasant is happening. And the most unpleasant thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, is the response that I myself feel. The response to self-censor. The response to play safe. The temptation to retreat into private life, into the safety of one's own study. Yes, it turns out that internal exile is possible also in the West, though we used to think it was something that only happened to intellectuals in communist countries. Let me conclude by asking what we can do to turn this toxic tide. Well, we as academics and students can uphold a culture of tolerance and civility in an atmosphere of open exchanges of views. Could you wake that guy up? Just give him a nudge. Hey, free speech isn't free. What can we do? Take the earphone out. What can we do? We need, it seems to me, somehow, to make a collective effort to restore civility, but also openness to our intellectual life. We need to defend the right of free speech, except when it is used to attack free speech. It was Karl Popper who said we should tolerate everything except intolerance. I constantly come back to those words as I contemplate our present situation. Not everything can be said. You wouldn't want every detail of your personal life to be on the internet unless you'd already posted it there yourself deliberately. We wouldn't want every detail of our lives to be online in a kind of ultimately transparent world. We don't want pedophilia, and we don't want terrorist propaganda. There are some limits to what can be allowed. Nobody can be a complete free speech absolutist. But I favor the thinnest of censorship and the thickest of skins. Just because you're offended, and you may have been offended by my waking you up, doesn't mean I'm going to shut up. When people say to me, I'm offended, my attitude is, diddums. I don't know how that translates into Spanish. And yet I hear this argument all the time. Oh, I'm so offended by what you say. That is verbal violence. No, it's not. There's violence and there's words. It's different. I mentioned earlier that I grew up in Glasgow, where insult is the common currency of dialogue. We were taught sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. What happened to that? When did we become so hypersensitive that we couldn't take a joke? I began with Martin Luther. I'll end with him.